I am filled with emotions. I am filled with joy. Ooh. So I ask you for grace. Wow. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. I think I'm done. I think I got what I came for. I don't need to go on anymore. Ooh, thank you. How do we live our deepest values in ways that create belonging, healing, and justice? In the season of reflection and renewal, I invite you to consider what it means to set the table. Oh my God. Ooh. In your personal life, in your spiritual practice, in your workplace, and within your community. What does it mean to prepare a place of welcome, honesty, and transformation for others and for yourself? Grounded in the guiding principles of Unitarian-Universalism and the Peace Institute, this reflection today is both an offering of comfort and a challenge. It is a space to breathe, to reflect, and to reconnect with the values that anchor us daily, especially during these times of uncertainties. So I want to invite you to travel this very short journey with me in 3 different phases. Under your chair, you're going to have a booklet, I Am One, that's interconnected when I come and I stand before you. So first, through reflection and prompts connected to each value inspired by this Setting the Table sermon. Second, through breathwork affirmations and weekly practices after you leave here, grounded in each value in your daily life. And then third, through reflection, meditative, coloring pages, and peace play, which you'll see on page 22, reflections creating a common space to sit with each principle with quiet contemplation. Section 3 was created, inspired by Ruth Henry, who is here today with her mom, Connie, on the coloring of the principles which she created, which is a symbol of everything that we do, and also the peace play reflection, which is on the front of it, is when I shared with her that I was coming here, and the sermon was entitled Setting the Table, she was called to play in the sand, and that's what she created. So now, I want to invite you to imagine a table wide enough to welcome truth, deep enough to hold sorrow, and strong enough to center healing and forgiveness. This table is more than wood and chairs. It is a sacred space where every person, every story, every voice has a seat. These are not distant ideals. They are living values that you and I practice every day. They're meant to be embodied, shared, and rooted deeply in the soul of our lives. So I ask you, what part of your life or your heart needs a place at this table today? Let's begin where all sacred relationship begins, with love. The kind of love that sees and affirms our worth simply because we exist. At this table, every seat matters and every life is valued. Your first UU principles reminds us that every person has an inherent worth and dignity. At the Peace Institute, we begin with love. Love calls us to recognize the sacred dignity in every person, with compassion as our lens, we see each other as family, worthy of care, respect, and belonging. Love welcomes us homes to one another. So on page 5 of your reflective journal, who in your life needs to feel seen and sacred? How can you affirm their worth? And how do you remember your own worth when the world forgets to reflect it? If you're called, you can answer. You don't have to. I am one. You're not just going to hear me. You're also going to bring yourself into this space. Quick story. A mother whose son was tragically cut short. She came to the Peace Institute heartbroken, unsure if anyone cared. You see, when he was killed, the headlines read, he was known to the police. Yet when she came in, she was welcome, she was heard, and she was seen. Even in her grief, she realized her story mattered. She mattered. When we recognize each other's worth, something powerful happens. We begin to move towards one another, and that movement is what creates unity. The table is built to bring people together. The third principle in UU calls us to acceptance and spiritual growth in the community. At the Peace Institute, that's our second principle. Unity reminds us we do not walk alone. It is a joyful weaving of our voices, our stories, our dreams into something more beautiful than any one of us could ever create. I remember being in a healing circle where people of different race, culture, communities, faith, and even political views. And by the end, we came as strangers and became companions. That table became more than chairs. It became a space of sacred connection and reflective moment. On page 6 of your journal, here are some reflective questions. Are there relationships or spaces in your life where deeper acceptance is needed? And what might change if you choose to meet difference with curiosity instead of fear? Yet unity does not mean uniformity. It means journeying together even when the path is uncertain. And that takes faith, a deep trust in the search for truth. Sitting at this table is an act of faith, trusting that healing and justice is possible. Your fourth UU encourages a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. The third principle of the Peace Institute is faith sustains us. It holds us gently when the world feels heavy and reminds us, even in our sorrow, that peace is still possible. A young man came in after spending 30 years in prison. His brother was also killed. He had lost his faith in God, in fairness, and in the system. Yet through community and care, he found something to believe in again. He found purpose in helping others. That's the power of faith. Faith born in grief, reborn in love. Page 7. Where in your life are you being called to trust? And what truth are you still seeking? As we walk in faith, we begin to catch glimpses of what is possible. A horizon shaped by hope, where peace becomes not just a dream, peace becomes a direction. Setting the table is an act of hope, a declaration that we believe in better days. Your sixth principle speaks to the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. At the Peace Institute, hope is our fourth principle. It lifts our eyes to the horizon. Even through the cracks of despair, it shines, inviting us to believe in a future more just, more joyful, and more whole. Each year at the Mother's Day Walk for Peace, mothers on both sides of homicide, youth, our interfaith community, our neighbors, and yes, you. You Watertown Walks for Peace. You make space at the table, not just by coming out and walk, but by bringing Watertown community into this sacred walk. And while we walk to heal and to create awareness, we also walk to raise funds so that we can help families to bury their loved one through our Rest in Peace Fund, and to support for emergency relocation to our Live in Peace Fund. Since 2015, you've helped us to raise over $50,000, including almost $6,500 this year. That's what it means to set a table of hope. Connection, invitation, and also, as we did the offertoring, it costs money. It really does. So it's a connection. When you imagine a world of peace, it's on page 8, what does it look like? What is one small way you can offer hope to someone this week? What is not in there is, what hope do you need someone to offer you this week? The fifth principle affirms the right of consciousness and the use of democratic process. At the Peace Institute, courage is our fifth principle. It empowers us to fear with open hearts, to face fear with open hearts. It speaks truth, it stands firm in love, and it dares to walk the path of peace even when it's steep and unfamiliar. I've entered many rooms in my 30-something years of doing this work where systems are being discussed, but lives were not. I've spoken names no one wanted to hear. I've asked for justice no one wanted to give. And still, even though sometimes people don't listen to me, I still speak, and I still show up. That's courage. Not the absence of fear, but the presence of love stronger than fear. On page 9, here's a prompt. What small act of courage could you take today to align your actions with your values? What would it look like to live with integrity even in discomfort? Courage. Then must lead us to action, to justice, the bread at this table, the truth that sustains all else. This second principle calls us to justice, equity, and compassion in human relation. Justice is our sixth principle. It is the heartbeat of peace. It restores, repairs, and reclaims. With compassion and conviction, it builds a world where every life is honored. We saw our families too often forgotten, especially living with the pain of unsolved homicide. Setting the table means amplifying their voices, acknowledging their loss, and refusing to look away. It means making justice a daily act, not an abstract value. I ask you, how will you make justice real this week? How can you be a part of the work of healing, equity, or repair within your own community? I'm coming to a close. And even as we work for justice, we are reminded of something deeper, that we belong to one another. That's where forgiveness lives. Your seventh principle reminds us of the interconnected web of all existence. At the Peace Institute, forgiveness liberates us. It softens what has hardened. It opens what has been closed. It is both gift and grace. It's not one or the other. It's gift and grace. Forgiveness is not about pretending harm didn't happen. It is about choosing to keep showing up. It is about saying, I believe healing is possible, even in the midst of my pain. For me, for you, for us. God knows our world needs it now more than ever, especially during these times of uncertainty. Forgiveness is radical peace building. Is there a situation, past or present, where forgiveness could open the door to peace or reconnection? Page 11. What would it take to move forward toward that healing, even just a little bit? Are you still with me? You still with me? Okay, I'm closing. We have journeyed through each principle. Unitarian-Universalist, Peace Institute. Each one is a place setting at this sacred table. Love calls us to see each other's worth. Unity gathers us. Faith sustains us. Hope inspires us. Courage strengthens us. Justice grounds us. And forgiveness restores us. Let us continue to build this table. A table wide enough to welcome truth, deep enough to hold sorrow, and strong enough to center healing and compassion. Beloved, this is not the end. It is only the beginning. Setting the table is practice. It is not a moment. We have launched a bold campaign. $25 million to build a national center of healing, teaching, and learning right in my community, Dorchester, in my backyard. Yes! Imagine looking like me and the audacity to talk about raising $25 million. That is nothing but God. Nothing but God. So we have raised $7 million committed. We are on a grassroots campaign to raise $500,000. And a part of the ongoing work is bringing to the community, let us begin to set the table, to bring people together in conversation. We are building a national center of healing, teaching, and learning. And this will not just be a building, it will be a beacon of hope, a place to heal, to learn, and to lead lasting change across Boston and beyond, where again, our own Ruth is leading Generation Peace to give them the tools that they need with these principles in any language that is possible. So I ask you, what part of your heart is asking for a seat today? What would it mean to welcome that part of yourself fully? I'm going to tell you what it means. Set aside just 3 to 5 minutes each day. Pencil yourself in on your calendar. Book your time with yourself. While you're busy moving and grooving and dancing to the music, give yourself permission to sit, to breathe, to reflect, and to write. Engage with your guide gently. The little booklet, engage with that gently. Because I'm gone. You guys probably won't see me until the walk. This is an invitation to stay connected. In section 2, page 13, it's a breathwork, affirmations, and weekly practices to continue to ground these values. Section 3, meditation, coloring, and peace play reflections on page 22, inviting calmness and contemplation that is guided by the work that Ruth is doing. May your table grow in love, unity, faith, hope, courage, justice, and forgiveness. And may peace begin again and again and again. And may it begin with you. Amen. Ashe, blessed be, and namaste.